Okay, we're going to do a quick update here. It's December the 14th today, Monday. Took cab off so that we could get to some of these lines and get them secured. That's our power steering lines. Got them all anchored in there good and tightened up. On this side, we got our cab heat and AC, and the copper one is our vacuum line for our brake booster. But we got our power run for our rear lights, and that's high pressure AC, and that's the brake line. That's our cooling lines. Not cooling, that's our cab heat right there. Heater lines. So they're all in there, pretty much secured. Still got to put a couple of clamps on it. But that's come along really well. You still got our front drive line finished, and that's in there. Pretty good. I like that. This rear drive line, we're going to, I've got a carrier bearing that'll fit right there, so it'll set back up under here, which gives us a better angle for the back half of it to get to the pinion. I had to rotate that pinion, so we adjusted our 4-link out, took out the bottom link as far as I could go. Get my hand out of the way. When I tried to shorten the top one, just wasn't enough adjustment in it to do it. So what we ended up doing was cutting this off and shortening it and re-welding it up back on there so we could adjust it. And of course that also a pair of springs that have killed her here. Right there's the center bracket for the top of the spring. You can see it moved it way forward, and it also tipped it. So we're gonna have to fix that. We'll cut this off and put that on there to level it back up, and then put us a new holder on there. So that's how it goes when you don't calculate it right. And that's okay. I've learned a bunch on this project. So anyway, there we are. This is our AC lines are all hooked up. That's our cab heat return. This is our overflow for our coolant reservoir. It's all mounted on there now, and that'll work really well. So things are coming. This piece here is our return line from the AC. That's 5/8 OD. I couldn't find anywhere in town, so I had to order some of that, and it'll be steel tubing, which I'll have to connect with compression fittings. But yep, she come along really good here. So that's where we're at. today, hoping by the end of the week to have the cab back on and we can start on the fenders and rear drive line finished here. Today is December the 19th. Of course, we just had this piece. We cut on and off foot out of that and had to re-weld it on here. Then we needed a center bearing, so we made one. This is the bearing that's in here is actually a mast guide bearing off forklift. So I know it's plenty heavy duty enough for this. Those bearings are made to carry a powerful load. I don't know how they are for speed, but we'll keep it under a couple of 100 miles an hour and we should be okay. We machined this part out of a piece of tubing and then put a snap ring in there to hold it all together. This bearing just happened to be, the idea of this bearing is 1 3/8, and that's what that was on this stub on this shaft right there. So it fit perfect. A couple of holes here so we can mount it. I still need to make the brace to support this, but run into a little bit of a clearance issue here. Actually, I don't think it would have hit, but it was close enough, so I went ahead and ground these corners off just to make sure. Anyway, that one's ready to install. And of course the front one here we did it a few days ago, and we had to shorten it too. We welded it right there, but yeah, it's gonna work really good, I think. The other one I ground off was just like this. All I did was rounded the edges off just to make sure it doesn't hit. So now we'll get that one back on and figure out where we got to have our support for that carrier bearing and get it installed. Notice I got my wire here. That's going to be one of our next projects here. So anyway, there we are on that one. Okay, well, we got our rear drive line in. The carrier bearing mounted. I think we're a little bit too close to transmission there, but it's not touching, but it's pretty close. Might have to drop this down just a hair or slide this bearing out this way, one of the two. But yeah, it's all in there. At least it's a good starting point to figure out what we got to do next. So see if we can focus there, but yeah, that part's in, and now we can clean that up a little bit and paint it. That should look pretty good, and I think it'll work really well. Carrier bearing works really good there, and it's good and solid. So anyway, there we go with that.